Exactly 2 weeks ago I played the most legendary game in history, Super Mario Bros. For the first time in my life. It took me 9.5 hours and 366.5 deaths to beat the game once. A game literally made for children. It wasn't the most impressive to say the least. So, to redeem myself, I thought I would speedrun the game. I gave myself 2 weeks of time and one goal: get ranked in the top 1000 runs of Super Mario Bros. Any percent. The first thing I did was go to speedrundotcom, look at the rules and make adjustments. Afterwards I scrolled down and saw this. A run from a man called Firebroth, ranked 1000, achieved about 3 years ago. So I looked at it. The run was crazy fast and the movement very advanced. While watching it I thought to myself, this will be insanely hard to beat. But then in World 8 level 1 he stopped and got a 1-up. That confused me, because with the speed he was going through the levels, he definitely didn't need it. I just lost him a couple of seconds for seemingly no reason. He cleared the rest of 8-1 easily and 8-2 as well. Then 8-3 comes around. He swiftly goes through 2/3 of the level and then he dies. A hammer bro got the better of him. He respawned, killed 3 hammer bros, got 2 mushrooms, cleared 8-3 and lastly 8-4. In the end, losing a lot of time in 8-3 and a bit in 8-1. This confused me. With his skill he should have easily been able to reset a couple of times and get a deathless run. Either way, this was the time I had to beat. 6 minutes, 18 seconds. Now it was my turn. I didn't look at the top runs and take their moves or strats. I wanted this to be a run crafted by me, like a blacksmith sharpening his weapon. I wanted this run to be improved by only myself, up until the point I had a finished product that I'm proud of. Before even starting my first attempt, I had a couple of things in mind. After all, I did just finish the game 2 weeks ago. Super Mario Bros. Consists of 8 worlds with 4 levels each. This adds up to a total of 32 levels. However, some levels have secret, hidden places called warp zones, which allow the player to warp from one level to another, skipping multiple stages in between, therefore resulting in the single largest time save of the run. The first warp zone is placed at the end of World 1 Level 2, allowing Mario to jump right into World 4. Then there's another one in 4-2, which teleports you right into World 8. Both warps collectively make 24 of the 32 levels redundant, resulting in only needing to clear levels 1-1, 1-2, 4-1, 4-2 and the entirety of World 8. With all this in mind, I started my very first run. Unexpectedly, on my very first attempt, I easily managed my way through World 1 and 4. Barely made any mistakes in World 8, came right through to Bowser, and I'm just kidding. I died in level 2. But my second try was even worse. I died in the first level. And it actually took me 44 runs to even beat the first 3 levels one time. But let's rewind a bit. Let's go through each level step by step. So, we start in the menu. If we didn't start here, our run would be invalid. Level 1 is as straightforward as it gets. Only 3 potential places that could mess you up. The tunnel jumps in the beginning, because they are just very precise, then one spot where you have to jump in between Goombas, and lastly, going up the stairs without stopping. Not that important, that will happen a lot. And oh, did that happen a lot. Damn it. Unlucky. Oh my god. Yeah, let's restart. I restarted because of this countless times. Actually, counted times. Because that's exactly what I did. I counted every attempt that I made out loud at the start of the run. From restart number 1 all the way to well over 357. And since I counted, I can tell you my first 50 runs were about 26 seconds long each. Which means typically I didn't even make it past level 1. Not even close actually, because whenever I managed to beat it, there would be this cutscene. Every time you finish a level that is followed by an underground level, this 20-second long cutscene will be played. And if it's not apparent how long 20 seconds are, imagine this. Since the cutscene is played after completing World 1 level 1 and once again after World 4 level 1, you see it between 0 and 2 times per run. For simplicity, let's just say it's once every attempt. That still means for every 100 tries I sit there doing nothing for at least 33 minutes. After the cutscene is played, Mario drops down to the second level. This is the first of 2 underground stages in the run. The only problematic spot is this one right here. Let me tell you why. Since the Koopa is this close to the wall here, at the time you are able to jump, it requires an insanely precise input. I tried to jump over him, but failed most of the time. It was just too difficult to pull off consistently. Shit. Man. So, in run 68 I started doing this. Thankfully, it actually only loses 0.6 of a second. Now, the only important part is to jump over the finishing tunnel and get into the warp zone. As soon as you have done this, you skip 2.5 whole worlds, making you continue on World 4 Level 1. This is by a landslide the easiest stage. In fact, it's so easy that even speedrunning it looks boring. That's why I included some unnecessary jumps to collect coins and open invisible blocks. Why? Because I think it looks cool and it's also kind of a flex. As usual, once at the end, you try going up the stairs in a fast pace. Following this is another 20-second long cutscene. Behind that, the last underground level, containing the last warp zone. The objective? Get there ASAP. Using my strategy, it should have looked like that. Instead, most of my runs looked a little bit more like this. 4-2 really is not a difficult stage. It's short, doesn't have a lot of enemies, not a lot of holes or moving objects, no fire, water or flames, just some relatively fast back-to-back jumps. Funnily, this was the level I would lose 90% of my runs to. I don't know why, I just couldn't pull it off properly. And that's why every time I did pass it in a good time, I would get nervous. My heart started beating faster, my palms and fingers started sweating more, my head filled itself with too many thoughts of possible ways I could mess up. And frankly, I would get overly cautious to the point where I press buttons way too early. Obviously, dying as a result of that. Eventually, I think I overcame it, and just took me way too long to do that. What you're seeing now is the warp zone area in 4.2. Here, you just walk to the right, up the stairs, drop down the selected tunnel and enter it. Behind that is the first level of World 8. You've officially completed 4 of the 8 levels, meaning 50% of the speedrun. Now things start getting complicated. It took me 78 runs to get here for the first time. Admittedly, the first level of World 8 is still pretty easy. Maybe the reason for that is just that I practiced it a lot in my normal playthrough. The first hard part was this one. By the way, these tunnels and enemies are aligned. Getting across without dying is a lot harder than it looks. To get over a tunnel, you have to jump as high as you possibly can. And since the tunnels are very close to each other, you don't have much time to think after landing behind the first one. You have to jump again almost immediately. However, if you jump way too early or way too late, the piranha plant will kill you. If you jump just a little too early or late, you will land between the Goombas and die. So you have to execute some pretty accurate button inputs to make it across. The next part is very interesting. For me, it was one of the hardest parts in the run. Whenever you get close to these 3 tunnels, the piranha plants will be out. A normal person would probably think you just wait a second and jump over the tunnels when the plants are gone. And that would be a good idea, but no, we are speedrunning, baby. We don't have that kind of time. So instead we just do a bit of this and that and... what? The piranha plant looks like that for us. However, for the game mechanics, it looks a lot more like this. Mario only gets hurt when he, aka this rectangle, touches the plant, aka that rectangle. So while for us he's already touching the plant, the game thinks he's totally in the clear. This is also the reason why the game allowed me to jump over the tunnels in 4.1. Anyway, the first time I got to these tunnels was my 85th attempt. But the first time I made it past the tunnels was my 125th attempt. And in the next 75 tries, I would only get it 5 more times. So, I just stopped doing the tunnel jumps and waited. It lost me about 0.8 seconds. By the way, that 125th attempt, you know, the one that made it past the tunnels, I made it past 8.2 and 8.3, then died 2 more times in 8.4. However, the last death was directly in front of Bowser. I got a bit curious. If that run would have made it, despite its 3 deaths, what time would that be? That day I did 200 runs. I stopped my recording, went into my video folder and timed my 125th attempt. And I was surprised. Even though I died 3 times, that run could have still ended at 6 minutes and 30 seconds. Which is only 12 seconds behind the run I hate to beat. After I realized that, I changed my plans. Now I didn't only want to beat Firebrov's time and get into the top 1000, not to be mean, but that just seemed too easy. I decided that my new goal is to get a deathless run that is under 6 minutes long. By the way, remember how I said my first 50 runs were 20 26 seconds long on average. The next 50 runs were about 47 seconds long. The 50 after that, 106 seconds each. The ones after that, 109 seconds. Meaning, instead of dying before even completing level 1, I now died right about here, in the end of the cutscene after 4-1. That was it for the day. 200 runs in 4 hours. Before moving on to the next day, I want to talk about something. A while ago, on 2 different occasions, I watched the speedrunners Simply and Small End. At one point, both of them talked about having hand pain and injuries because of speedrunning too much. They even had to get operations and couldn't play for multiple months. When I first heard that, I thought it was absurd. I've been playing PC games for my whole life. At sometimes 16 hours a day for weeks back to back, and I've never had hand pain in my life. But after the first day, the first 4 hours of this challenge, my hands hurt so much. Not only my hands, but my forearms and biceps too. Honestly, I don't know if it was just coincidence. Maybe I did something else I forgot about that could have caused it. But after this, I only played about 30 to 60 minutes in one sitting for the next couple of days. Let's continue where we left off, the tunnel jumps in 8-1. After those, there isn't anything too dangerous left. You just have to be cautious with the Goombas, go up the stairs, don't be an idiot and fall in the holes. Wait half a second for the piranha plant to retract, go up those thingies, and finish. Now, in the second level, I had a pretty good strategy. You jump over this guy, and as long as you stop on the stairs for a bit, then jump on the 4th step, and continue from there, you make it 100% of the time. Also, if you do a full jump from this point, and another one from here, you avoid the Koopas as a whole. Afterwards, you have to do a lot of fast jumps consecutively. Then this part. It's terrible. With every enemy so far, there was a scheme behind them. If I moved in a certain way, they were always avoidable. But these little fuckers were arranged differently every single time. Well, how about you just do a long jump and take your chances to get over both of them? Yeah, sure, that's a great idea. If it wasn't for the fact that sometimes there were 3 of them. Why? I don't know why, you tell me. Ultimately, my plan was to not have a plan. I would just roll with it and react intuitively. Spoiler alert, that's the other part that killed me the most. This little guy jumps over you if you stand on the 2nd step. Thanks, bro. Now we start the worst level. It's the worst only for the reason that there are hammer bros like every 2.5 feet. Let's assess the situation. There are 2 hammer bros and 3 potential platforms for them to stand on. At first I thought the arrangement was random, but after a while I figured something out. The hammer bro in the front will never spawn on the bottom line. The reason for that is that he will always spawn exactly 1 platform above the 2nd one. But if the 2nd one spawns at the top, the 1st one will spawn 1 below him. With that information, we know the bottom and the top lines have a slight chance of not having any on them. Another factor is, even if a hammer bro is on a platform below you, he can still kill you with a hammer, which means the top line is a bit more dangerous than the bottom one. So I opted for the bottom one and hoped for the best. Thankfully, even if the 2nd hammer bro spawns there, the 1st one spawns 1 above. And if you jump against the platform at the spot where you kill the 1st bro, you will also land on the head of the 2nd one. If done correctly, you clear it every time. Deja vu, anyone? Looks very similar, doesn't it? You would think the arrangement of the mobs would be the same here as it was before, but with this one I couldn't figure anything out. They didn't go by the rules of the first ones. I've seen them spawn like this, together like that, and even apart like here. I believe it's just completely random. I don't know why, but with this one I always went to the top. If both of them were at the top, I would drop down and go another way. Basically, I just took my chances. Behind that, there are hammer bros on the ground. Usually, if you just run and jump over them, you will die. But I also figured something out over here. If you time your jumps in a way where you always land behind everything as close as possible, you will never get hit. For some reason, the hammer bros start throwing later cause of that. At first, I thought they just get loaded in a bit later cause of the screen position. But that doesn't make any sense, because the screen only moves horizontally. Jumping wouldn't change anything. So I assume they get loaded in relative to Mario's position. For example, if they were spawned once Mario is this close to them, jumping would delay it from needing to be over there to over here, ultimately making the hammer bros start throwing 3 frames later, aka 0.05 seconds. And apparently that's enough for me to make it across. The last level starts like this. You spawn in on the side of a stair. Obviously you don't have enough space to start running. What I did is walk off to the right and jump as soon as you land on the 3rd step. You only have a couple of frames to do that, otherwise your butt gets burned. Now, this looks really stupid, but for some reason, the piranha plant despawns when you get close to it. It's totally safe, trust me. You jump over all of those things, land here, open an invisible block and get into the pipe. You enter another pipe here and now you are in the water section. It's pretty easy, honestly. Just go over the flames here, land on that thing and as soon as you can do one stroke. Once you clear that part, you just swim up. This part is basically the end of the run. You instantly start running to the right, as soon as you touch the ground you jump. Then another jump to get over the hammer bro, and again to get over here. But then there is Bowser. Sadly, he is completely random. When I get there, I don't know where he shoots the flames, whether he walks forwards or backwards, how many hammers he throws or when he jumps. For me, this was the hardest part of the game. If he spawns in a shitty way, I would lose no matter what. I just couldn't react to him well. At the end, I was just hoping that he walks back, throws one set of hammers, and then stops so I can jump over him. If he didn't do that, I would die almost always. And that's it. That's how a Super Mario Bros. Any % run goes. Now I just had to pull off every single part in one good run. Let's see how I did. Since my hands hurt after day 1, I only did 25 runs on day 2. Also, I completely skipped day 3 afterwards. But because I created a route for myself now, I started to do actual speedrun attempts. 226. Quite a lot of runs died in 8-1, and at the time I was still trying the tunnel jumps often. I came to a compromise. If my run was good so far, I would wait. On the other hand, if it was slow and full of mistakes, I would try to do it. What's more, it was getting difficult to count the runs at this point. Yeah, 2. Nevertheless, I felt like I was improving. I started beating 8-1 a lot, but then died in really stupid ways in 8-2. It was very obvious that I didn't have nearly enough practice in that level. Yeah. Oh my god. Today I did 75 runs, which made me end up at 300. Yeah. Well, that was that. Today I started implementing something that I actually already found out in my 125th attempt. If you enter the underground part in level 1, you can save about 1.9 seconds. In addition, if you go under those blocks instead of over, you save another half a second. This is my first run today, and I made it to 8-2 instantly. I died in the next level, but on my next run, dude, my first 2 runs back to back today, made it to 8-2, that's crazy. Then died in 8-2 once more, and 5 runs later I made it back again. That was a big deal. It showed me that I got a lot more consistent. Of course I also had some funny and stupid deaths along the way. Oh no! Oh, what a shit way to die. However, then something insane happened. All of a sudden, I got the cleanest and fastest 4-2 I ever had, followed by a flawless 8-1. I didn't do a single mistake. I executed every jump just how I planned it. Afterwards, I did a mistake in 8-2, but got saved by a miracle. What the fuck? Oh my god, my hands are sweating so much now. Damn, now I'm really fucking nervous. And even though I haven't been in 8-3 for a while, I even managed to defeat those dumb disgusting deranged dick-headed devil dogs and progressed into the next level. But, as always, all good things must come to an end at some point. I made a fatal mistake of pressing a button too early, jumping right into my own grave. Twice. I jumped twice, it happened again. I only continued because once more I was curious about the time, and the same thing happened as last time. I made it to 8-4 fast, died 2 times, came to Bowser, died again and checked my time. Except this time it wasn't 6.5 minutes, it was 6 minutes and 10 seconds. If I just had jumped over Bowser, I would have already beaten Firebroth. I made a 20-second improvement. I think it's hard to understand how much that is if you've never tried speedrunning. So check this out. With a time of 5 minutes and 14 seconds, you would be at place 537. If you now improve by exactly 20 seconds, you're literally in first place. That's how close together the first 500 runs are. 351. So I took a 3-day break because frankly I just didn't want to play that much. However, I did practice for like 4 hours over the span of those 3 days. At this point I managed to get into A2 about 20% of the time, though all of those 20% died there as well. 365. That's how many days a year I don't want to play this game anymore. Fuck. 374. At this time my friend came over for the weekend, so at some points you will hear him. To distinguish our voices better, my subtitles will stay black like this, while his will be neon blue. Meister.
Of course. 393, mommy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Number 400. Well, that's it.
I want the pussy. The pussy.
Fuck. 420. Yeah. Nice. Some dumb shit happened this day. Come on, man. Oh, fuck. I hate this game. 8-3 first time in a while. I got into 8-3 not long after again. This time my friend was sitting next to me. We were talking the whole time while he was watching me play. It was making me a bit more nervous because I thought it would be really cool to beat the record while he was there with me. Interestingly enough, I made it the furthest I've ever been without a death. This time I made it all the way to the end. Only seconds remaining. Less than 10 button inputs to press. And I lost the run. 437 was the number of the run that I made it to Bowser without dying anywhere before. It was disappointing, but I had no other option than to try again. Now my friend wasn't there anymore. A couple runs after he left, I made it to 8-4 once again. I made the jump over the fire, avoided the fish, cleared the water section, and again I'm only seconds away from victory. Oh no, I messed up. Oh man, I messed up the end. Oh, how unfortunate. This was the most painful death so far. Just the way how I died was so unsatisfying, it bothered me. But again, I gotta keep going. Just do it like you always do. That's not how I did it in fucking practice. Actually, I did that in practice quite a bit, now that I think about it. I stopped that day at run 450. I skipped another day, and including today, I only had 4 more to go. The first 2 runs both made it to A2. Run number 5 almost made it to 8-4, and the ones after that frequently made it to A2 and A3 as well. At this point, I could get a sub 6 minute run any second. Just watch how many times I died in A3. And it didn't stop there. Some runs even made it into the last level as well. However, I got unlucky with the Bowser. Then on another run, I got saved from some really close calls just to end up being too hasty at the finish line. This is run 550. Today is the day I finish this shit off. It's funny that I said that on day 12. I practiced an hour before I started recording and I was able to clear the levels multiple times back to back. I started feeling really good about this. In fact, so good that I said this. Yeah, I feel it. I don't think I will take too many more tries. Time was getting thin and I only planned to play a max amount of 100 runs a day. That's what I did on day 10 and 11 and that's what I wanted to do on day 12 as well. Runs that made it to 8-3 were flying around left and right. Compared to the days before, you could think that I'm a wizard pulling all those good runs out of a top hat. Ugh. Wow. Wow. Oh man. That's terrible. Epic, man. Fucking epic. That's so sick, man. 610, 611, 613. Keep in mind that I will stop at 650 today. 619. Then run 620 comes around. Level 1 was great. Level 2, perfect. 4-1, excellent. 4-2, splendid. World 8 level 1, marvelous. 8-2, wonderful even. 8-3, spiffing? You know what, it doesn't matter. The point is, the run was amazing. Every single level went well. Even when I made it to 8-4, I was just flying through it. To put it into the words of the speedrunner simply, the run had a big ass and nice boobies. I wanted to be with this run for all eternity until death divides us. The only thing standing in our way was Bowser. Without thinking twice, I'm rushing towards him. Just to be friend-zoned at the end. It's not you, it's me, the run said. To which I replied with I took a breather for a minute and continued playing. At this point, I was like actual white people sad. You could literally hear the sadness in my voice. 632, 634. Another run makes it to 8-4. A glimmer of hope is shining through the gates of the friend zone prison. A person opens the door, walks in, and just to inform me that my sentence was increased. Afterwards, a couple more runs made it to 8-3. The day was coming to an end. 646, 648, 650. Now, the last run. It was interesting. Level 1 was as easy as always. No mistakes here. In level 2, I shot the Cooper as planned. 4-1 was effortless as usual, and no mistakes in 4-2 either. Even the warp zone part was flawless. 8-1 goes by as fast as it came. Not a single screw up. In 8-2 I did a tiny fail where I accidentally jumped on this dude. But, not a problem, my backup was fast and I barely lost a second. I go through 8-3 and the Hammer Bro spawns on the ground. But thankfully, I managed to kill him. Now I go to the top and again the Hammer Bro spawns in my way. However, I'm lucky again. It's only a single one, which means I can jump over him. I keep going. Now I have to jump over the Hammer Bros on the ground. I came close to him and jumped. Way too late, I realized, so did he. Will I suffer the same fate Firebroth did? Both of our best runs destroyed. There's nothing I can do. The best run I've ever had, thrown away just because some dumb Hammer Bro decided. What? In the 650 runs that I did, I've only seen that happen once before. And I don't even know why it happens, but apparently it's my lucky day. I made it to 8-4 and it's officially my fastest run yet. Except for one mistake in 8-2, I didn't do anything wrong in the entire thing. It's only this one level left. Oh my god, that was gonna be my last run today. Yep, I did it. I beat the challenge and it took me exactly 12 days. I'm glad I beat it, but in the time I made this video, Miniland broke the world record twice. And Nipsky even broke the 4 minutes and 55 second barrier. And that made me realize something. I don't think that's what speedrunning is about. It's not about breaking second barriers or getting world records. It's not about the competition and working the hardest at all. It's not even about setting yourself goals and accomplishing them. I don't believe it's a test of perseverance, and it doesn't matter how many times you're able to fail and keep going. At the end, it's just about showing Firebroth who's fucking boss. Get right, kids. 618 and then try 528 asshole. Get good, mate. Got him. This video took me about 80 days to make. It was an insanely hard project and I hope you liked it. It would mean a lot to me if you give this video a like or dislike and wrote criticism in the comments. Thank you so much for watching and see you next time. Bye bye.